So now I've sanded the face with 150 and then 220, and you might be able to see some little shiny spots in there. That's okay. All right. That might even go away because later on I plan on hitting it with a can of clear coat, spray can that is. But I've saved the corners for last, right? Because you don't want to burn through the corners with a block. I've saved those for last, so I'm just going to gently rub those down with steel wool. It's very hard to put buildup like clear coat and whatnot on the corners, right? Very hard to get a significant amount of clear around the corners. So I'm going to gently rub the corners by hand with some steel wool just to kind of smooth it out. It doesn't feel bad right now, some minor imperfections. On the bottom side, where this is the totally black side right here, I got some drips or partial drips hanging out. I don't know if they'll be discernible on camera, but I can definitely feel them. Right, you might not be able to see them, but I can definitely feel them. You can probably see that one. Yeah, you can see that one right there, right? There's a drip. And there's some more runs right there. I'll sand the bottom side flat. I'm not too concerned about the bottom. Never ever going to see the bottom. Now it's time for the steel wool. So this is 220. Let me get a cloth right here. This is 220. You can see it's starting to level out quite a bit better. Right, it's not perfect yet. And I'm not looking for a piano finish. In my opinion, when you have a wife that's careless with a vacuum and a kid who likes to poke domes and speakers, piano finishing is not necessarily something you want to have in your household. But if you have mature people living in your house, yes, go for a piano finish. And then there's that. Now it's time for the steel wool. We'll see if we can bring that luster out a little bit more, smooth it out just a little bit more. Now my steel wool, I do start the sanding process with the grain, right? With the paper sanding, I don't care which way it goes. I go all different directions, but once I get to the steel wool, I go with the grain. You can see it's starting to bring out a little more shine. You can still see like maybe the clear coat's a little bit thin right there, but like I said, I'm gonna go back over it again with a spray can of clear. Just gently, you're not pushing hard, gently rub it back and forth. Take your time, there's no hurry. As you can tell by the piece down there, we've changed the sheen quite a bit. Although this might look more shiny, it's got a lot more texture. But this can eventually be polished out if you want to polish it out and create a mirror finish or a glass-like finish. But that's what I would call a medium rough steel wool. Next step, I'm going to go to the 00 steel wool. And I guess I'll do a little bit of this live. I just wiped off the dust with a microfiber cloth. Now I'm just going to go ahead. And this is the finest one. And I can see, I don't know how well you guys can see that. Sorry if the camera shakes. But just gently rub it back and forth with the grain. My finger is gently wrapping over the edge of this as well. And I'll go over the edge, the bull nose up there at the same time. Right, and get all those round overs. And just kind of smooth everything out. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, it just takes a lot of working back and forth. The nice thing about steel wool is it's like self-cleaning. Unlike sandpaper where it likes to stick, unless you're like wet sanding. Move this out a little bit further. If you're wet sanding, it's a different story. But steel wool is like self-cleaning. You will eventually have no steel wool left once you've used it all. You just kind of have to look and see where the spots are that need more work, more attention than others. And in between each stage, when you go from like 150 to 220 or 180, whatever the case may be sure to wipe off all the dust. However you need to do it, either with alcohol and a paper towel or a lint-free cloth or a tack cloth, whatever you want to do. Be sure to wipe off the previous dust before you go to the next step with your finer grit. That should help with the overall finish. Again, this is going to be my hobby shop radio. I wish I had it now as I'm building this bed frame here. And it's kind of early in the mornings, and this is a quiet process, so I'm not worried about waking up my wife and child right now. So that's all you do. Just gently rub it. Take your time. Again, just like with the RC car stuff, any kind of custom thing, if you're in a hurry, you're wrong. Take your time. Take your time. Sometimes chemical reactions happen and it's uncontrollable, and you got to do what you can to fix them, and then do what you can. All right. Let me wipe off the dust here. Let's wipe off the dust. Let's see what we get when we wipe off the dust. And if there was enough clear coat on here and you had a polisher, you could polish this out or hand rub some beeswax on there. Get a nice waxed finish on there. And in all actuality, it doesn't look bad as it is. Then the speakers I have a foam gasket, so I'm not worried about the textured here. It's not as bad as it looks, and then the tweeter turned out pretty good. So there it is, from rough to almost finished. But that should get you guys close on your woodworking project. Right? Try something new, try something creative, get inspired. Now get away from the fucking TV. Have a good day.